Well, hello everybody, CptRocSavage here. Welcome back to my channel. We're here to talk today about our next application that we do use on our stream. Today we're going to be talking about SimBitWorld, A Pilot's Life. Alright, so we're going to go through this application that I use as my virtual airliner. Now, a lot of you know of many different airliner applications out there that you can use to simulate being a real-world pilot or to simulate real operations with your company that you fly with. As you can see, this application has a very nice, well thought out setup when it comes to the dashboard, job market, schedule, logbook, flight, and so forth. Now we're here on the dashboard page, which is going to currently show you what your ranking is up at the top left corner here, as well as your name, your rating currently, and what company you do work for, and you'll see your company over here on the right side. We did just recently take a job or a contract with Southwest Airlines again. We've flown for many different companies in our time here, in our total of 176 flights, as you guys can see down here in the number of flights section. We have a total of 257 hours currently on this specific application. That it doesn't include all the hours that we have flown total. We also are seeing the hourly salary that we get currently, which is $70.29, and showing us with a actual bank account. Now we will go through a lot of this here a little bit later on in the video, showing exactly what you could do with the bank account and why it's important to try to have as much money as possible. And like I said, we'll go through that down the line. Currently, you'll see that our current pilot rank is a captain, and our next pilot rank is senior captain L1. Now you do start off as a junior first officer, and you do climb your ranks all the way up to whichever your desired ranking may be, but it's a consistent XP that you get for every single flight, and that builds your XP towards your next rank. So you do start off as a junior first officer, then it goes to first officer, senior first officer, captain, and then so forth. So one of the really cool things that SimBitWorld has come out with as of recently is the ongoing events that they officially have released. I want to say maybe about a month ago from this video, where now they actually have scheduled events that you can actually click on. So we'll go ahead and do that here, and it'll bring up a specific flight that they have scheduled during such a time that you will be able to fly, and then you get a certain amount of XP as well as a certain amount of money for that flight, which is really cool. And they do everything down to the aircraft you have to select. You can choose SimBitWorld airline if you want. I'm assuming that's just some sort of VA line that you can use. Obviously, you can choose any sort of company that you want to fly this specific route. As you can see, it shows your distance, 860 nautical miles, as well as how much you get paid, which is $500, and an XP of 200%, which is really cool. So you get 200 XP. Really cool. And it shows you currently how many subscribed pilots there are, and it shows you the date, time, and exactly what they're doing. One of the coolest apps that I would say are on the market right now for any potential virtual airline pilot. I've been using this obviously for 176 flights, and I absolutely love it. If I could tell you guys one of the apps that totally have changed my flight sim experience, it's SimBitWorld. And honestly, I love this application. It is probably by far one of my favorite applications out there. For me personally, it's a necessity for every time I fly because it gives me a purpose. One of the coolest things that it shows and it tracks is all your flights within that you do on this application. So as you can see, we spent some time in Alaska as well as North America. You got pretty much a lot of different locations there in the US as well into Canada, some spots in Mexico and Central America, as well as the Bahamas. And then you go to Europe. We've even flown over in Europe, as you can see, plenty of different flights scattered all around. And it's just one of those things that I really enjoy. You can see out in Hawaii as well, is the fact that you have the ability to fly wherever you want as long as you're flying with a company that flies within that area. Now we'll get into how you could purchase flights and stuff like that here a little bit later down the road. So we're going to go through this application and really tear apart everything that you really can do in this application, and we'll start off here in the dashboard. So in your inbox, you'll always see that you get messages. So if you click on that, you'll see salary credited for whichever week that may be. If there's any specific expansions or messages that the developers need to get out, they will shoot this here into the inbox, and you will get this on your daily basis if you know, there's something that needs your attention. So you'll get that in the inbox. Down below here, you'll see a current contract. So we can go ahead and click on the current contract, and this will show you what your current contract for the employer is. So currently we are employed by Southwest Airlines, and you can see the employee, which is us, CptRocSavage, and it shows you the ineffective date. So we were officially hired by Southwest Airlines, or contract accepted on September 26th of 2023. It gives you a whole bunch of words to say the least, and it'll show you full-time employee, shows you what your hourly is, it shows you what you chose. So we are a weekly pay, and one of the cooler things that all of this does is gives you your hourly. So you have the ability to choose whether you want to fly upwards of an hour schedule, a schedule free. Essentially, there's no specific amount of flights you need to fly within a week, or you could do the hourly, where it's 5 flights at least a week, where you get a percentage or a bonus, and then there is a flights number a week, which is 15 flights a week. And if you have the time to do that, that's great. The incentives are really, really good. However, for us, we personally don't have all the time in the world like that to use towards the flight simming aspect. But really cool. You have a lot of different options to choose from with that, which is really cool. And you select your contract, and then it'll write it up and show here. You also have your resume. Now your resume is going to show you all the companies that you've worked for previously and currently, and that's one of the really cool things I love about this app, is that you actually get a resume and shows you everything, to break down and logs every single flight that you have done. So as you can see, and it even shows you what your ranking was with those companies. So we've flown for so many different companies over our time, and that's one of the cool things about it. Every week you have the ability to choose a new airline if you so choose, and this really allows you to move around the entire world based on what your necessities or desires are to fly. You have your achievements. So right now we have 15 of 30 achievements. I've never really looked at this page, to be honest with you, so this is the first time I'm looking at it. You can go ahead and see all these different types of achievements. You guys can look through them if you so choose to choose this application and purchase. And if you are a achievement person and like to accomplish as much achievements as possible, then this is for you. Inventory. You can go ahead and select on this. This will show you any sort of education or investments that you do end up purchasing. Once again, we'll get to that there once we get down to the shop section on the left hand side column, and we'll show you exactly what all this means. We did purchase a 0.25% XP increase on training for leadership and teamwork. I'll probably get back to you on how that was probably a waste, but we'll get back to that a little bit later. Photo album, if you take any photos, we haven't, but if you take any photos, you can go ahead and select there. So one of the cool things is we'll go down to the left hand side column, and we will select job market. Now it's going to take us to an area here where you're going to be able to see a bunch of different companies. Now every week in this gray box here, you're going to see a list of offers from 5 companies that are going to offer you a job for that airline. Essentially all it's going to show you is everything you see up here. So if 9 Air was going to offer us a job, you would literally see all of this here, the rating that it is, and the only thing is on the right hand side it's going to say accept offer or not, and then there will also be a hourly that they're offering you to incent you to come and fly for them. So for instance, if we just go ahead, I'm going to type in United Airlines. So when I type in United Airlines, you can see that I just typed United. It's going to show us 4 different airlines here. United Airlines is right here. As you can see, they are a 5-star company. and you could see how many jobs are available and how many pilots are flying for United as we speak. If we go ahead and select the details on this specific company, it's going to generate a window here for United that's going to give you a little bit of a backstory, as well as all of the flights that they do and all the airline or all the aircraft that they do fly. That is probably one of the cooler things about this app, is it's so in depth that they've went ahead and done this for every single company out there, which is so cool. The fact that the developers have done that, it's really amazing. And if you look here, you can zoom in, you can see all the different routes that they take, and it's really something, and it's really in depth. And I encourage any of you that end up trying to pick up this specific application that you do go ahead and really get in depth with it, really take a look. For the sake of this video, we're not going to go into full depth with all the different types of routes that they choose and so forth, but really cool. If you come into the fleet overview, you can see all the aircraft and equipment that they fly, the number of aircraft, or more so fleets that they have. It's really awesome to see, and will help you in the long run when choosing your specific licenses that you choose. All right, so kind of the job market section. Now, after there are 5 job offers after 1 week, you will also get the ability to pick up to, I believe it's 3 to 5, somewhere in there. I'm not exactly sure. It's been a minute. I haven't applied for a company in a long time, so I couldn't really tell you offhand, and I don't want to give you guys false information. So I'm just going to give you a general 3 to 5 that you can apply for at a week's time. I want to say it's 5, but I'm not 100% sure. And all you're going to do is just go ahead and select apply, and it'll generate underneath your already set job offers, and you'll have to wait a day before the airliner decides on your application whether to send you an offer or not. So one of the cool things is, after you've selected a company, so say we've chosen Southwest, you're going to come to your schedule, and you're going to go ahead and pick your schedule. Now, you don't get to pick exactly what your departure, arrival, airports are going to be or anything like that. It's going to give you a option of, you know, do you want to do short hauls, medium hauls, long hauls? Do you want to go on operate out of, you know, specific hubs? If not, random continued, or just random flights in general. So you do have a lot of options on that front, and you get to choose which aircraft licenses that you want to fly, so which aircraft, as well as, not only that, you have the ability to go through and select specific airplanes that you can choose. So really cool, really in depth. Once you've chosen your schedule, it's gonna populate here. Now, one of the cool things about this application, again, is that it's choosing real world routes, and that is why I love it, because it's as real as it can get. As well as, you know, if you do the random continued, like for us currently, we don't have necessarily a specific hub we fly out of, but for instance, right now, as you can see on our scheduled departure and arrival for our next flight, we are Southwest 2691 from Sacramento to Vegas, and it's going to show you your departure time, arrival, as well as the distance of how long it's going to take in your aircraft of a B737. So very cool. Like I said, it's and for the sake of the video and kind of just showing you what the application is and exactly what I do. And I know if you guys do follow me on Twitch, you will see me pop this up in the application, or excuse me, in the stream itself, the application in my little iPad. You'll see this pop up every now and then, and I'll go through it, but this is a little bit more in depth of what I'm looking at on my end all the time. It's, like I said, very in depth and worth the money if you guys are looking to invest into an actual application. I'm never going to tell you that this application is so much better than other VA. I mean, all of them have their specific needs. I just think this has a very realistic feel to it. So not only do you get your schedule, and you can just do these as you know, you progress through your schedule, which is really cool, and you have the ability to stop mid-schedule or finish it all, or not even do a schedule, and you can essentially always go in and fly for somebody else if you want to. Now, obviously, if you don't fly at all, you have the potential of actually getting fired from the company you work for. So there's always that potential. So obviously, I would advise you to at least fly 1 or 2 flights a week just so you get some notches under the belt. You do have the ability to skip flights, so you have up to 5 per company to skip flights. So we've already skipped a couple just because there was an airport that we didn't have, so we just wanted to kind of not have to fly into there and just fly into the airports that we do have. So we'll go on to the next topic here, which is the logbook. Once again, this flight or this application literally will track every single one of your flights. Now if you look, you can see all the different types of aircraft that we used. It gives you everything from, you know, the flight number to departure, arrival, departure time, arrival time. It literally tracks everything. It'll give you your score, which was your rating, as well as the XP. So if I click on details of this of this specific flight, it'll give you everything. And now that's one of the things that I love about this application. It literally goes to the fullest in depth of each and every flight. So it's going to give you an entire scoring, which is what your rating will be. Now this rating will really matter in the long run for the companies that you wish to be hired from, because they are going to take higher rated pilots for those, you know, 4 or higher star companies. So that is something that you want to think about when you are doing these flights or using this application, is that every time you do a flight, you want to make sure that you are doing it as close to real life as possible. Otherwise you will not pass all of these specific little reports. Now you can always go up to the top right hand corner here and you can look at some of the stuff that a lot of people like to see. Sometimes people like to see the landing rate. So as our last flight, we had a landing rate of negative 111 with a G-force of 1.07. So stuff like that, you can go through and kind of see some stuff, you know, super, you know, like right after the flight. If you don't want to look through all of the things on the left side, you can go ahead and look right for most of the stuff that everyone really wants to see half the time when they want to go and see a specific report from a flight, which is really cool. So if I go in here and select flight, you'll notice that it's going to pop up a flight page of what your next flight's going to be in your schedule, which is really cool because you can get a lot of different information here right from this page. So down here at the bottom, you're going to see departure METAR and arrival METAR, and it's going to give you the live METARs of both of those airports, which is really helpful, honestly. So obviously a lot of us use SimBrief and stuff like that. Well, guess what? It's integrated into the application. So right here, you can go ahead and select SimBrief Dispatch, and it's going to pull, and that'll pull up a SimBrief profile, which for you then at that point, you can go ahead and select right off of SimBrief, generate the flight report. It's going to give you all the information that it's going to need, 737, and it'll give you the call sign, everything that you need to do. You'll just literally need to hit generate flight and it will fill all the information out for you. So it is fantastic. It's awesome that this application basically imports that immediately right to SimBrief, and it makes it super seamless for you. It's really amazing. You always have the ability on the top right hand corner here, when you guys have more than one license, to go ahead and change the aircraft. So if the company does fly specific aircraft, usually you can select that. Right now you can see that we're loaded in the simulator with the 737, and you can go ahead and choose different aircraft if you wish. So obviously for all of us, we personally have the Airbus CRJs, 737s, as well as the A320 family and A330 families. So we do have quite a bit of different types of families of licensings for us. However, for you, like when you are choosing which, you know, specific aircraft, there could be a 73700 or a 73800. This allows you, for some reason, if you loaded in with the 700 and you didn't want to go back out and select an 800, you can come in here, find the 700 and select the 700 if you so choose. And what you're going to do is you're just going to hit select, and it's going to switch the aircraft to a 73700 if it wasn't already there. So just some cool things about that if you needed to change the aircraft. And once the flight is done, you would hit the flight report and submit the flight report. You can always restart the flight, and once you're done, it's gonna, you can have it set to auto submit, or you can just submit it yourself. I just do auto submit. But you have the ability to turn that off if you so wish. One of the cooler things as well, while in mid-flight, you can select this little window, which is going to say show flight raw data. And this is going to literally give you all real-time, you know, indications of whatever it may be, your pitch, your bank, your stall, your wind. Everything's going to be implemented right here. You're going to see live values being right before your eyes, right into these boxes. Really awesome. Like I said, it's so in depth, this application, and you really get a lot of bang for your buck with it. So that is the flight section. We'll hop into the shop as well, and this is where I was talking to you about earlier, how you can purchase aircraft licenses, flight skips, and even flight tickets. So we'll cover the main things right here in front of us that we're seeing. So you have the ability to, if you have extra amount of money, you have the ability to invest or buy education. So what's that going to do? Essentially, investments are going to get you more money. Okay, so this will get you 10% more money per flight, or more a weekly, I guess is the best way to describe it. But you'll get a bonus of 10%. And this will cost you, if you're looking right now, it'll cost you $100,000. Now, in my humble opinion, I think these prices are a little inflated, to be honest with you. I personally think that some of these amounts are a little unattainable given how much money you actually make, you know, an hour, and then based on how much, you know, money you'll make in a week. If you dedicate your entire life to flying and that's all you do, then you know what, maybe these numbers are a little bit easier for you to, you know, to hit. But for me personally, this is a little out of reach, so I don't really use too much of these. I don't really buy any of these. I have bought one of the educational things when I first started out, thinking that it really mattered, but I'm here to tell you, do not waste your money on this when you start out. I recommend purchasing aircraft licenses, and I'll give you a little bit of my my 2 cents with that here in a minute, but definitely do not recommend wasting your money on this. This is definitely an after you've purchased all your licenses and what you're finished purchasing anything that you want currently within the application itself, then maybe worry about this down the line. But for now, this is something that I would recommend that you definitely do not buy off the start. Save your money. You only get $5,000 when you make your first account, so recommend saving your money. Don't spend it on anything here. Maybe, you know, enticing at first, but I'm telling you, it's not going to make a difference. So we'll come over here to the right. Now, I was talking about saving your money, right? So if you go ahead and hit aircraft licenses, it's going to bring you up a little window here, and you're going to see that it's got a bunch of different families and different, you know, aircraft to purchase. So these are licenses. So essentially how the application works is you can buy your license. Okay, so just like in the real world, when pilots need to get type rated for a specific, you know, aircraft type, that's kind of what you're doing here. You are purchasing a aircraft license for that family. Okay, so why is it called a family? Well, for the A320, let's just say, right, the A320 has a lot of different variants within that A320 family. So for instance, we selected the A320 family, we go to the right, it's going to show you a bunch of information on the A320 family, and it's going to give you a whole background of everything, which is really, really cool. Over here to the right, it's going to show you that there are 260 operators currently in the world flying with something under the A320 family. You can always go ahead and select the company like Aer Lingus, let's for instance. So we'll go ahead and just select them. It's going to bring them up, and you can go ahead and see a quick snapshot of what we saw earlier when we selected United. It's going to show you exactly who flies or what they fly in that A320 family. So for instance, they fly the A20neo, which is the A320neo, and then the A321neo, and then the standard A320-200. So those are 3 different variants they fly. So Aer Lingus would be a really good company if you were, you know, really wanting to fly them. That's a good company to pick up the A320 family on. Now, obviously, you can go through a bunch of different operators here. We're not going to do that, but that's just a little sneak peek at that. If you go into the variants, you can see that there are 6 different variants that fall under the A320. So you have the 18, the 19, the 20, 21, and then the Neos of the 20 and 21. So you get $5,000 to start off when you make an account. Now that's why I said I recommend you choose 2 different licenses for your first starting job. Now keep in mind that you're not going to probably get anything over a 1 star based on where you are going to choose to fly. So my biggest thing, and I tell everybody this, I always recommend the CRJ. The CRJ operates under a lot of different companies. So, you know, for American, United, and Delta, I'm just going to use them for a US based theme, and they fly the CRJs a ton. However, they are operated through SkyWest, Endeavor, Air Wisconsin, and so forth. That, you know, that company basically contracts under United or, you know, Delta or American. They contract under them for those companies, and those companies are actually rated like a 1 or 2 stars. So, you know, the CRJ is a phenomenal aircraft to build hours and get your ratings up. And that's why I recommend the CRJ, because if you choose, let's just say, the 737, there are not many companies or operators out there that are a 1 or 2 star that actually operate the 737. So that's why I strongly recommend, if you guys, you know, are looking for companies to fly early on, recommend picking up the CRJ. It's only $2,000. And if you still want to pick up the 737 or the A320 or whatever your main, you know, aircraft type that you love to fly, I recommend buying that, you know, secondly. So for instance, if you wanted to buy the CRJ, right, you could still buy it and you will still have enough for the 737. You will still have enough for the A320. So you still have that ability to purchase, you know, multiple different families. But I always recommend just to find that first entry-level aircraft that you so choose. Maybe Embraer is something that you really like. So pick the ERJs. They're $2,000. Like, that is my 2 cents for you guys. When you're starting out this application, I recommend that you choose one of the lower end families for commuter, you know, aircraft out there. Pick something like that, fly a company for a couple weeks, build those hours, build that rating, try to get as close to 100 as per flight as you can, get that rating super high, and your XP will grow. You're not going to make a ton of money off the start, but the whole point is to just get get some numbers going. And once you get those numbers going, you know, you'll get interest from higher end companies. And believe me when I tell you, the more you keep flying, those offers will come in. So recommend doing that. That's my 2 cents. I'm not gonna hit it with a hammer anymore. Just, that is what I suggest, and I'm gonna leave it at that. So that is what the aircraft licenses is. You got every company, or not every company, but excuse me, every aircraft available on this application. So you don't need to worry about not being able to find something that you probably normally fly. They'll have it here. They also have the ability to purchase flight skips. So like I showed you previously in the schedule, you get up to 5 skips. You can, if you run out of 5 skips, you can always purchase more. I'm not exactly sure. If I look, 5 skips is $500, so pretty expensive. So I would recommend not skipping as many flights. Honestly, I think if you skipped more than 5 flights, you probably have an issue with that specific schedule, and I would have probably told you to just regenerate and choose a different schedule when you were selecting the schedule in the first place. Flight tickets. Now this is really cool. So one things I love about this application is you have the ability to choose flight tickets. So for instance, I'm going to just show us here, we are in Midway, so I'm going to go ahead and select Kilo Mike Delta Whiskey to St. Louis, which is Kilo Sierra Tango Lima, and we will choose Southwest, so that's Sierra Whiskey Alpha. Go ahead and search excuse me, and it's going to draw all of these different routes that operate between Midway and St. Louis. Super cool. These are all individual actual routes that Southwest flies down to St. Louis from Chicago Midway. Now you can see that you have aircraft types of the 38 Max, the 700, the 800 Max, 800, 700, and so forth. You can see all the different variants. One cool thing, the price, only $50. Now obviously from Midway to St. Louis is extremely short, right? Now if I chose to go to LAX from Midway, let's go ahead and search. As you can see, the flight is now extremely more money, right? Midway to LAX is 1,500 nautical miles, give or take. And Obviously there's a bunch of different aircraft because they do fly multiple different routes to LAX from Midway, and you can obviously see the flight still stays the same at 151.90. I'm gonna just use another example of Miami, and you can see it's 102. So obviously we're choosing Southwest. Now I'm gonna just switch the airline to United, and we're gonna see if that price changes. Well, that'd help if I was it would help if I was at a airport that United flies out of. As you can see, United O'Hare to Miami, $260. So a lot more money. We're looking at almost $160 more. So based on the airline, I would recommend, guys, you know, depending on how much money you're willing to spend on that flight, if it's a necessity, obviously, like, try to choose the cheapest airline that you can find. But obviously, if money doesn't matter to you, then by all means, spend whatever you want. I don't care. It's your flight ticket, not mine. So one of the cool things that I show that you could do, so for instance, if we wanted to do this, I would select this. It would pop up United. This is the departure arrival. This is what the aircraft you're choosing to fly. As you can see, they have a 320 and a MAX that they also fly. That's the price. You can choose to prioritize this trip in your current schedule. So what this will do is actually, in your schedule that you currently have, you can actually put this specific flight at the top, and it'll be your prioritized trip. So this will actually be a flight that you could do in the simulator and still run the application and still be able to get the points and all of that for flying this flying the specific route. Sometimes people like to fly with friends, and maybe you're not flying exactly your specific schedule or company, so that's why this is really fun to do. And you can also choose different, I mean, your airline doesn't matter, so you can do a United Airlines flight even if you're a part of Southwest. So really cool. Total price $260. You would have to go ahead and click purchase. We're not going to do that, but just showing you guys exactly what that does. You do have a community section, so you can actually friend up with people that are on these on this application flying live, which is really cool. And you can see a bunch of different things here, from leaderboards to wealth to XP, and then your current friends list as well. You do have a reports section, which you can do a finance report if you wish. There is expansions, so you can choose to purchase the APL V2 PA, which we have, but we don't really use it. We're not going to really get into that. That's just kind of, it's up to you guys. I use PackX. I don't use this, so I'm going to leave it at that. Just going through it a little bit, you do have tools. You got a random flight generator that this was actually newly put in as well. You have the ability to just kind of generate flights if you wish, and you can fly off of this if you want. Very cool. Like I said, this application for me personally has changed my, you know, flight simming experience. Honestly, you know, before it was like flying from point A to point B wherever I decided to go. Was kind of how that went down. But now with this application, it has truly changed. You know, I like, now there's a purpose behind this simulator. There's a purpose to try to make money, to try to, you know, buy aircraft licenses. Like for right now, like personally, our goal is to purchase a 787 license, and that's $4,000. We're currently at $2,798. So for me, I'm currently trying to work as much as I can to get that much money so I can purchase that license, and then hopefully work for a company that flies a 787 and be able to do some, you know, longer flights and stuff like that. So you, like I said, there's so many different things that you can do. Some people have different needs for this kind of application. Some people love to just do extreme short hops, which is totally okay. This application allows you to do what pretty much ever you want to do and still make it an extreme fun, like career mode almost, right? And that's why I love it. It's so in depth. It's as realistic as it can be, with obviously kind of it doing a more quicker advanced version of your ranking system. So hope you guys enjoyed this this, you know, shorter video ish, I guess, on SimBitWorld, A Pilot's Life Chapter 2. You know, like I said, it's definitely an application that I do not fly without. I absolutely love it. If all of you guys follow me on Twitch, CptRocSavage, like I've said multiple times, it, you know, it is what keeps me flying, honestly. You know, not saying that I don't love the flight simulation aspect of the game and the sim itself. I just, you know, this really ties everything in. It gives you a purpose, and like I said, it's so worth it. You can pick it up over at Sim Market. You know, you can go on to SimBitWorld's website. However, it's just going to take you over to Sim Market, and that's where you can purchase it. I believe it's 30 euros. So once again, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks again so much for watching. Take care, stay safe. We'll see you on the next one. Have fun flying. We'll see you.